What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's
Man,
good.
I don't know why Streamlabs hates my computer. Maybe I need to change browsers or something. Because every single time you and I chat, your camera doesn't update for me. So all I see is like just an empty chair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the whole time we did the stream last time, I couldn't see you.
Hmm.
Like, let me see if I can swap browsers real quick. I'll jump right back in.
All right, man. Well, anyway, welcome to the stream. We are another book club. First week of the new book. It is an anthology from Raconteur Press, which you can see on the screen. There is Wyrd Warfare, and tonight we're talking about the first story in the anthology, which is called MCR Merlin by the author Josh Hill. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna wait to talk about it till Jesse gets back on. But yeah, man, I liked it. Definitely military fantasy. Probably might be my favorite genre. It used to be, mil sci-fi was for a while, but then I started reading more mil fantasy. I don't know. I think I like mil fantasy better, or urban fantasy, but definitely like with a more like definitely military fantasy with a more of an emphasis on the military. So take that as you will. I need to get my nose fixed. I have really bad congestion. I can't breathe very good through my nose. Just a bit of a mouth breather. So forgive me if you can hear me breathing during these live chats and stuff. I'm sorry. Maybe one day I'll have the VA take a look at my nose and figure out if they can. I know I have a deviated septum, so that's probably part of the issue. Is that better?
Oh, nope. I think
Nope.
it worked.
Is that working? Well, now I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I
Uh,
heard that.
Do I need to be louder, or is it not coming in at all? Or
No, I think you're fine. I think it might have just been like I don't know, like a glitch or something. I hear you now.
gotcha.
All right, man. So, how did you like MSR? I kind of already, while you were getting back in, I kind of already introduced the book, or I
Oh,
guess the short
sweet.
story. Have you read this one
Yeah.
before, or have you already read this
No,
anthology?
no. Weird Warfare's new to me, so I'm doing along for the ride. I really did enjoy it. This first story. I love this genre. I've written basically in this genre before, and it's a lot of fun. I think this is going to grow a lot in the future. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of entries that do something similar to this, but I think the focus, just like Weird West, I think this is going to be people are going to like wrap back around to it.
Yeah, I accidentally titled this as Weird West because I was just so used to saying Weird West. Then I was like doing it for YouTube. I was like, wait a minute, I think I wrote that out wrong. So I had to go back and fix the title. Uh, yeah, man, I honestly like. I don't know. Is Weird Warfare considered like the subgenre? Because like this felt like straight up military fantasy. Um, but I guess I don't know how that works.
Yeah, well, I think that you can kind of that's like a dealer's choice kind of thing. You can argue it how you want to. You can say, oh well, this is just military fantasy, or you can say it's something different. Um, Weird West would could blend so close to steampunk most of the time. You could call it steampunk. Steampunk can have fantastic elements.
Yeah.
Um, just steampunk without the steam, like
Yeah.
so. That's
Diesel punk, baby.
yeah. So when you start nitpicking subgenres, it really it'd be like, is it really? Well,
Yeah.
is it worth arguing?
I mean, it's so in the Venn diagram. There's like so much overlap between subgenres, like epic fantasy, dark fantasy. Like one story could be like like Son of the Black Sword is definitely dark fantasy. You could argue it's probably
Yeah.
military fantasy because there's a buttload of military POVs and a bunch of
Yeah.
battles. So yeah, there's huge overlap. So it's I don't know. I don't even know what the point of
Well,
sub. Just it's fantasy.
yeah. Well, and then you have to argue, are parts of Lord of the Rings military fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's entire battles. Does anything of battle in military fantasy, or do you have to have that military based focus? Like
Yeah.
now we're, like I said, you start really nitpicking.
Yeah, I think it's a very subjective thing. Like for me, it has to be like the character has to be like there has to be at least one POV that's legit. Like this guy's a soldier or he's a commander or something. Because like there could be battles. I mean, obviously there's battles. Like if a fantasy novel doesn't have a battle, I don't know why. I guess cozy fantasy. I haven't read any of those, but they probably don't have any battles in them. But yeah, I mean, like,
I mean, you could do tight knit stories. You know what I mean? Where it's like the battle's a skirmish or a duel or something like that. I mean, conflict is going to arise naturally.
Yeah.
But you could do a fantasy that never really ended up having a full pitch battle.
Yeah.
I think that would work out.
Yeah, for me, I think like the military, like you need to have some kind of perspective that kind of shows like what it's like to like for military life. So you can have like that POV of a soldier or a commander or whoever, even if it's just someone who just is a pogue, and I guess I don't know what that would be in a military army or in a fantasy army, but I guess the guy that puts up the tents and cleans up after the horses, maybe.
Yeah, all your camp followers, your caravan train guys, those are all the medieval pogues.
Yeah. I still count that as military. I mean, that's what you don't hear about when you go to the recruiter. You don't hear about the job. It's always the frontliners, the hard chargers.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, dude, yeah, I like this MSR Merlin. I thought it was a very cool concept. I don't know if I've read a lot of other books that really, that had like the modern day, like straight up. This feels like I'm watching like a war flick with wizards in it.
Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots has a couple that are kind of like that were cool. One's World War II and one's like modern day. It was werewolves in Afghanistan, or I thought that one was cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that because I watched the first episode and I thought it was rad because it was like the kind of like a kaiju thing, where like it was the girl was inside like the battle monsters basically. And then after that, I kind of like the next couple episodes I found kind of boring and I kind of gave up on the show. But I didn't see that episode. That sounds rad.
Yeah, if you get deeper into it, so it's going to be a mixed bag because they're all shorts. So if you watch one and you're like, I didn't really dig that one, there's going to be one coming up later that you're going to like better. So you can kind of there's like 3 seasons out now. You can pre-screen them. You can read the synopsis and look at the art style. See if that's going to be better for you.
Yeah, I don't only have Netflix anymore, or it's on Netflix, right? I don't have it anymore. I know that, but well, it's on Netflix.
That'll ruin it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. By the way, I think you've already read Alpha, right? Monster Hunter Alpha.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm listening to it right now, and it is werewolves are like my favorite monster, like hands down, far and away.
Yeah. Good book for that.
It really is. I'm to the point. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't read Monster Hunter Alpha.
Oh, hold on. I got this real quick. Yeah. So this was a gift for my buddy Garrett because I don't like having to tell people. So here's a warning. Spoiler alert.
I need to get a soundboard so I can have little like cool sound effects for that. But yeah, I'm to the point. Earl and Nikolai just fought, and the false alpha ripped the werewolf outside of Earl, and Earl's now inside the gymnasium trying to get the townsfolk to get their S together, and then the female, I forgot her name already, but the female cop just came back in with like a dead werewolf, and they're like, look, this is a werewolf, it's not a weird dog, it's got a wedding ring and boob implants, and it's got a tattoo that looks just like Rose's tattoo. So that's where I'm at on that story right now. Yeah,
Heather is her name.
I'm really hoping that Earl isn't a human forever, but don't spoil it for me. But I don't want that to be the case because he's like the baddest werewolf ever.
Yeah, it's Earl is a favorite of mine, as far as characters and things like that go. But there's a lot of that's still to this day. I read those kind of as they came out, and that's still one of my favorite series.
That's awesome. So you when you like found Monster Hunter, like how many books, or did you like find it right when International came out?
No, it was like, I gotta think back a long time ago. I think Vendetta had just come out. but I know I bought Alpha when it came out. But I think Vendetta had just come out. MHI had been, if my memory stands correct, Larry had actually been writing it for like gun forums,
Yeah.
and then like self-published it for just a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and then he picked up the contract for it, and so I was just a little bit behind that. Like I didn't have to wait to get number 2, which was nice, but
Yeah.
I did have to wait for the rest of them.
But that's fun though. I feel like we like don't get that anymore in today's society. Like all of our shows just drop all the episodes all at once. Like we don't have to wait for the next week. So it's fun to be like caught up on a book series and you have to like wait for the next book to come out.
Yeah, midnight releases for more than just video games.
Right? Yeah, dude. I think Vendetta probably made me like I liked Monster Hunter International, and then like I read Servants of War, and I'm like, oh my god, like Larry Correia is the man. And then I listened to Vendetta. And I was like, yeah, Monster Hunter rules. And like, not that I had an issue with MHI. I like listened to it like 4 or 5 times on my Audible. So like, I still liked it, but Vendetta definitely hooked me on the Monster Hunter series.
Yeah, absolutely. And it continues. It's a series that holds quality. I'll put it that way. So like, I don't think you're gonna hit one and be like, man, after this wasn't as good as X down the line was.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little harder to follow than others, just because the storylines get kind of complicated.
Yeah.
But if you're really digging Alpha, because Alpha's the biggest departure from everybody that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm loving it so far. I mean, yeah, Larry kind of talks about that a lot, either on Twitter or on the Facebook Writers Dojo or Monster Hunter International fan group. But he likes to he'll go write in another series, or he'll go write a different genre for different like he has the Atheon book coming out, which I'm excited for that to come out, the Academy of Outcasts. And then he's writing that new series for Arc. So like he says he likes to do that way he doesn't get stagnant and boring with Monster Hunter. Mm-hmm. So when he finally comes back to it, he's like, he's got ideas and he's excited to do it. So I think that's probably why it's such a good series, is he's smart about how he does it.
But absolutely. I think it's important for writers to go experience stuff and have time.
Yeah.
If you don't have the time, then you're always in the same gear, and that's the whole thrill of writing a good book, is creating that emotional and story roller coaster. So it should always have waves. It should never stay steady too long. Or it's just like watching an action movie. Like, as much as I love John Wick 4, I know people that were like, man, I just kind of got bored. And it's because it's like, dudes never stop getting shot. It's just, it's like, and this gunfight lasted an hour and a half. Like, there's no change in it.
That's probably very, like, a kind of a niche target audience. Which is cool for like you can tell that Larry for Monster Hunter was writing to a niche audience, because the depth and detail on just how the guns operate, the brand names, the calibers, dude, even he keeps going, even Alpha, even once he got bigger, this, I'm not I like guns, but I'm not a gun nut, I don't know all the brands and stuff. So he'll say, I'm carrying the whatever, he'll throw out the brand name and the model number. I'm like, yeah, this is for people. I need to get on this level, so I appreciate this more.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should probably switch over. We were talking about Larry Correia a lot, and we could make this a Larry Correia book club. But yeah, dude, MSR Merlin. I loved the incorporation of wizards into combat, and especially with the POV of Sergeant Capello, and how he's basically I can't remember what we called them in the Navy or what they're called in the Army, but the bodyguard basically of a chaplain.
Bodyguard. Yeah.
I don't know what the rate in MOS is. In the Navy we call them rates. I think the Army and the Marines call them MOSs. But I don't know what that's called. But hilarious, not hilarious, but cool. And I like that, incorporating this supernatural aspect into basically an already existing job in the military.
Yeah, I love that this was the opener. That this is how they started this anthology, because I feel like it really does set the pace. It sets the expectation. So I'm hoping that the quality of this story holds throughout, the whole Antho, because
Mm-hmm.
this had really cool ways of merging magic and military. It had fun characters with personality,
Mm-hmm.
a tiny touch of romance. It had, like kind of everything you're looking for in a 8 to 10,000 word short. Like
Yeah.
it was really, I thought this was an absolutely great story. Um, I loved that. I love that it's there's a tendency when you see um, pieces or movies or anything that are set in that part of the world. There's always the like plucky, kind of happy-go-lucky native guy, like he's from there, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, boss, we'll take care of it." Like he's always like nothing ever flusters him.
Yeah.
Um, and that's a very common theme, and I love that that ended up being like the baddest dude in this story. You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. I guess I'll probably hit that a little later, but I like how they handled that too, or how Josh handled that, and like how they kind of
Yeah.
how he like kind of unfolded, or let it blossom out as the story went.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I thought like not only is
for
it a
sure.
good like first story in the Antho, but I thought like the opening for the story, it had like for me it reminded me a lot of Iron Man 1, where Tony's in the Humvee in the very beginning, and just like
Yeah.
all hell breaks loose. Um, really good way to start a story off, just like chaos. And um, I really like the concept of like the wizards having to like basically eat another wizard to get more powerful.
Yeah, the vampiric wizardry was cool. That
Yeah.
was a cool way to make the combat wizard. I know we just talked about how you don't see this super a lot, but one of the things that you do see a lot is like the combat wizard. And that power has been shown as great in many other types of fiction.
Hmm.
But having that vampiric, like, I beat him and take his power aspect of it gave it a fresh twist.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it reminds me of. Have you seen the Jet Li movie, The One, where every time he kills like an
Oh
alternate
yeah,
dimension of himself, he gets stronger?
yeah, absolutely.
Is that how? I haven't really.
Great
I need to
movie.
go watch Highlander, but is that how Highlander works? When you kill another, I guess Highlander, do you get their power, or you just?
Yeah, there's a thing that happens called the quickening, and it's I don't know if you've probably seen the clip or something. It's whatever, but you'll see one of the immortals hold their sword up to the sky, and there's all these lightning bolts,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I've
it's
definitely
this
seen the
really
GIF.
big dramatic thing. Yeah, and so that's the power absorption. So when
Hmm.
you kill that other immortal, then you've experienced the quickening, and you take their soul and their power.
It's like the
And
Dova King killing
so
a
yeah,
dragon
that's
and eating its soul.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. That was cool, man. And the just like right out of the gate with like the description, like how the wizards fight, like because we get Captain Davis, and right, he's like closing his eyes, he's chanting,
Mhm.
but like I like that he describes from like the sergeant's POV, and you can like feel like he can feel like kind of the magic coming off the wizard. But then like the
Yeah,
just the description's fun, like the darkening sky, the lightning, and then like the creepy dust devil wizard shows up and shoots out like these eldritch like inky tendrils to like impale the dude and
yeah,
imprison him. Uh, love it, dude. And I
yeah. They're
think
like necrotic almost. Yeah,
yeah, and I think it was smart to like
yeah.
put in like that he had to like close his eyes and chant and do all the somatic, the component requirements from like D&D, where it says you got a
Hmm.
verbal,
Yeah,
material, somatic, whatever. And then I think that like set a good baseline for how a regular wizard has to do business. By the time we got not to rush jump to the end, but when we see Sammy finally kind of unleash, it's just like he's got his thumbs hooked into his vest. It's just like super easy for him. Um, yeah,
hmm
I think that was a good way to kind of demonstrate how freaking powerful Sammy was, why he's such a badass.
yeah. Absolutely. No, that's it. It's cool because it was a great way to establish, like you said, those power levels,
Hmm.
and experience levels, and give you without any way to you don't have to look at somebody and be like, oh no, the fight wasn't going well or anything like that. You don't have to do those things. You can see just by what's happening as the scene unfolds. You can tell kind of who's got the upper hand. This was a fantastic written story in my opinion. I got to give Josh kudos. This was good.
Yeah, this is the first one of his stories I've read. I don't know. Have you read? Are you familiar with this author?
No, first time I've ever heard of him.
Hmm.
But I've been lucky enough to meet some of the rack press guys, and like I'm an alpha merc, and a lot of the alpha mercs get into the rack press
Hmm.
anthos. But this is my first like time picking up a rack press antho and reading it all the way through. So like I'm impressed with the quality of the production. There's a art piece for each short story.
Yeah, I saw
Like
the it was
that's killer.
yeah, it was Sufi. Is it Sufi? That's his name, right? The bad guy's
Yeah,
name.
the Sufi.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Sufi. That was a sweet picture. They even have like a black and white of the cover too. Like as you kind of open up the anthology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So that was, I mean, I haven't seen, I don't know if they just started doing that or if they've been doing it the whole time, but if they've been doing it the whole time, no wonder they do so well with anthos because that's awesome.
Yeah, kind of a cool like premise. Because as far as I'm aware, Raconteur Press only does anthologies, right? Like that's kind of cool.
They're just starting to do like other kinds of books and novels. So they're doing like kids books
Hmm.
and some things like that. The big call that they had recently was for like like boys novels, so like
Hmm.
young men's novels, like think early teen, kind of 12-year-old kind of novels, because that's a really difficult space right now. Aside from super old works, like I've hand your kid Hardy Boys,
Yeah,
but other than that, it's difficult to find stuff in that space because all the YA stuff is written for older teens.
yeah,
Um, and so that's kind of what there's a big push to kind of bring back men's fiction in that space,
yeah. I haven't seen that on
which
X
I'd
and
like to
stuff.
think I'm a part of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like Raconteur Press, Arc. That I had a DJ Butler on, and he
yeah,
talked a lot about how and I think John Douglas too. He kind of went viral with that one post where he was like filming Target's book selection, and it's just like uh, romance, fantasy, or I don't know what the like slang is for
yeah,
that genre, but yeah, I mean, like trad pub, like the mainstream publishing, definitely don't care about dudes. And then when I got out of the Navy, like I started going taking writing classes, and I think they get that from school because it's very oriented towards uh, dude's bad, you guys are toxic. Let's let's veer more towards the. Not that there's anything wrong with like a feminine angle, just like they just kind of demonize men, which
yeah.
was kind of not fun to take those take those classes. If I'm being honest, it was
No, no,
super,
absolutely not.
super hard not to bang
I
my head against the desk.
Yeah, no, there was I literally dropped some English classes because of stuff like that. It was
Yeah,
like, okay, cool. Like I my favorite professor ever agreed with me on nothing. It was because my degree's in political science. He agreed with me on nothing, but if I argued my point well, I passed. Like that's how that worked. If I wrote an A argument, I got an A grade, even if
hmm
he thought that wasn't the right option. And I had other professors that if you didn't agree with them, you failed. Like
yeah,
that's all there was to it. So I get it. I wouldn't have had fun in a lot of those classes either.
yeah. And I was going to
So
Portland State, so that's kind of the like the mecca of bad ideas. But anyway, um, yeah, dude. Loving the. I forgot what we were talking about. What was the last thing we mentioned? We talked about the vampiric. Then we went on to talking
yeah,
about
and we were
Josh and
talking about
Raconteur.
and the way the Anthos built and the way that you can tell the difference in the power of the wizards without having to really
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like without having to say like this guy was more
You
powerful. It's
get your DBZ scanner on, like, oh my god, his power level's off the chart.
over 9,000.
Although that was awesome too, so I wouldn't hate it if they had little like scanners that like could tell your power level.
Little wizard scanners. That's gonna be the next story.
That would be kind of cool, honestly. Now I was kind of making fun of it at first, but I think that would kind of rock.
Yeah, I'll be
uh,
about it.
let's see here. Oh, dude, I really like. So they had this like when the what they call it, the scryers or the remote viewers would.
Scryers.
Yeah, they had
Yeah,
to like get their contraband in, right? They get the Apache Marine dude. So he's like this guy
yeah,
in a Marine fatigue, but he's like in full like Apache like headdress, like war gear or whatever. Like I thought that was a
yeah,
great scene, and like I don't know, like if it just like lends to like this blending of this magical um, element of the world into a military component where like yeah, you probably shouldn't wear that in regs, but like since you're part of this like magical spec ops thing, like that's kind of part of your your MOS, so you have to put that on. It's
Yeah.
actually uniform. I don't know. I really like the way he kind of meshed that together. And on top of that, like when they're actually doing the ritual and like the way, like everyone around there who's not even magical can feel the energy. I don't know. It made it like very like vivid, and I liked that. I liked the Apache in the Marine uniform. That was cool.
Yeah, no, that was a very cool moment, and I think it's really cool that it was very, how can I put this? It's quintessentially American military. Like so many of all of the military traditions um, our gear, the tactics that we use, they come from either the wars with or named after like the natives. So like it was a very quintessentially American solution to, hey, we got to figure out a way to like to get extra power.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, like we'll get the Native American shaman like to come over and help out. Like
Yep.
that was very American military. Like,
Yeah.
we named, all of our equipment after them and use their knife fighting techniques and all kinds of stuff. So like it's that's cool.
Yeah, the ghost talkers from like World War II.
Yeah,
Nice
absolutely.
little callback there. Yeah, yeah, but I love that, dude. I didn't know. So reading this story, and then I think reading Servants of War, have kind of educated me. I didn't realize that golems were like this Hebrew myth or something.
Yep.
I that's something I didn't know. So I like that. The golem was really cool. Like it was like it was a Rolls Royce, right?
Yeah, it was a wrecked car basically.
Yeah, dude, I was like, that's such a good idea for a gold, like in a modern twist, like in the military and or like just modern day, I guess. But yeah, like having a golem made out of like a ruined car is awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, very terrorist, very terrorist warlord too, Middle Eastern warlord to have the Rolls Royce.
yeah, and also funny because it's like not the right way to do it because like this idiot over here used metal. He should have been like, that's why the Hebrews used clay or whatever because it's heat resistant.
Yeah,
Because the dummy doesn't even know how to make a golem. Yeah, but that was a sweet golem. I like how Sammy was like, "All right, guys, just hang back. I'll take care of this. Like, don't waste your ammo on this thing." And you just hear like you don't hear it, but you read that like all the gunfire just stops. I like
yeah.
that description.
It was a cool that there's enough trust between, because you see the opposite kind of trope used often, where when you introduce this weird element, be it monsters or magicians or whatever, the regular guys are like, man, we don't need no stupid sorcerer. Like we don't, like that's a very common theme. It's like, I don't want to fight with a werewolf. That guy's gonna go nuts and eat everybody. Like
Yeah,
instead, they're like, no, by all means, like blow that dude away.
yeah,
like bring the thunder, man. Come on.
yeah.
So
I think he did.
I thought it was cool that they worked together.
Yeah, he did a great job of like basically making it a component of the military, like a super normal.
Yeah.
We're used to this. We've been using it. I mean, they've used it. I think he even says like since antiquity or whatever. They've been using sorcerers in battle, and I think he weaves it really well in. Even talking about like how Capello's old is it SFC, whatever war wizard, would come to the range with him and kind of practice like little cantrips, just to keep his reflexes sharp. And then Sammy's like, "Nah, dude, I don't need to do that shit. I'm good.
I don't need that shit." That was that cracked me up. He's, nah, man, I don't need that shit.
Yeah. Or even like when he's getting all geared out, and then Sammy's like, "Yo, can I get a pistol?" And the staff sergeant's like, "No, you can't. You're a civilian. You can't have a pistol."
Yeah, I think that was all, again, really well crafted. Like the Sammy's like kind of happy go lucky light, like, he doesn't really PT. He's kind of chunky, like he's
Yeah.
got a beer belly kind of deal, and it makes everybody. And he's like always, oh yeah, no, man, we're good. It's cool, whatever. It's very laid back, easy. And until it comes time, and that switch throws, and it's and then we get to the reveal at the end of why he is how he is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the whole thing was very well crafted, using Capello, you getting him a pistol as like their bonding moment
Yeah.
was great, because when that happened, and it was like, hey, can I get a pistol? And he was like, no, you can't get a pistol. I was like, that would have been my thought too. It's like, hell no, this dude's not. I'm getting this guy a pistol. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
We're in a war zone. Magic runs out. Bullets are the backup. Like, that's like telling him he couldn't have a knife. Like,
Yeah,
you're an idiot.
And I like that it was like an Iraqi pistol too, which was a nice little like tie into his heritage and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
At first I was kind of like, man, is this guy? I didn't know how to feel about Sammy, especially once I found out how powerful he was. I was like, is he too powerful? Is it kind of lame that he's so strong he doesn't even have to try? But then I was kind of thinking, okay, well, I'm seeing it from Capello's point of view, and he's a guy that we know has worked with other wizards, and he knows how things are supposed to go. And we've seen him he first meets the guy, and he's like surprised to even find out that he's a wizard, and he's going to be going into a war zone just by looking at him. And then like he slowly, and then he doesn't train, doesn't PT, he does like the bare minimum as far as like the regs go. So he's kind of surprised by this guy, and then he's even more surprised when he actually Sammy catches the bullet that like zings right past.
Which
Yeah,
was awesome.
Was super cool, and he's like, "Holy crap, this guy's actually pretty dope." And then like as it kind of goes on, and then he sees him fighting the Sufi who messed up his last guy, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, Sammy is a total G and like nothing that I've ever experienced before." I think once I started kind of looking at like realizing, okay, the way it's being explained to me, it's not like contrived, or he's not like he's a Mary Sue, but yeah, it's not. I liked it. It was a good way to show that there's something special about this guy. And then at the end, obviously, we hear that the one thing I'm like, okay, I wish, or maybe I can read another story, or I don't know, is the fact that the really really old wizard only had like a dozen, souls or whatever that he'd sucked out from other wizards under his belt, and Sammy had like 100. So I'm like, why is there such a massive discrepancy? I don't know. I mean, maybe Sammy's just really naturally powerful, so he's able to just wipe out way more wizards, and that just kind of compounded. I don't know. That was the only thing I was kind of like, well, why did that really old guy only have 12 wizards souls in his belly?
Yeah, I feel like that definitely, if he decides to continue this world, then we need to like get a prequel and kind of go into Sammy's past for sure. Mm-hmm. From what I've read of that war, because history was my minor and military history was really the focus of that. That was one of those wars that it was really everybody was. There's wars where people are professional, and then there's wars where people just absolutely fucking hate each other. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand about that war, it was the latter. Like and so I like using that as the backdrop. And this could be a culture, and because we don't know what Iran's like in this world, it could be a culture that maybe they really push wizardry. Maybe there's like, most people have, let's say there's one war sorcerer per 500 troops. Mm-hmm. Maybe the Iranians, it was, 3 per 500. Maybe like Sammy was outnumbered all the time. Maybe he's more powerful, but he's constantly facing more and more. But that does, from my recollections, that was like a really nasty conflict. And so it kind of fits that he would kind of have this really kind of dark view and be like, oh, no, there's nothing that we can do right now that's worse than what I went through as a boot.
Yeah, I don't really know if I don't have an issue with him having killed so many. But I'm just like, why is the old guy only have 12? I wish that number was a little bit higher, because it feels like such a big discrepancy for like the guy's been around since Lawrence of Arabia. And I'm like,
yeah, true.
Why? I mean, I feel like at least he could have been sneaking up on other wizards and like just sucking their juice out from behind, till he got.
Yeah, make it 50 versus 100.
Yeah.
I got you.
I thought 12 was a little bit low for my blood. You got anything else you want to hit?
Oh,
I got some more notes back here.
I'm trying to think of anything else that really jumped out at him. I think, again, I already flashed my spoiler alert sign. The one thing that bothered me, and it's funny because it's almost the same scene. The one thing that did kind of bother me was Sammy being like, "Oh, whatever. I don't need your power. You're not important."
Yeah,
Which on one hand is like really like I love the kind of like the attitude and the insult. I love that Sammy was that confident. He's
yeah,
like, "Whatever, dude. You're chump change."
yeah. We say
But at
your
the
power
same,
is like a match on a flame to me or something like that.
yeah, the Kenny Wayne Shepherd reference. Uh, but at the same time, I I feel like that's kind of a waste almost, if that makes sense. I mean, we don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
happens to that power, but at the same time, it's like even if it's just this little incremental gain, if you really feel drawn back to the battlefield, which there's this conversation that they have, and it's like, oh well, hey man, you didn't have to fight. Why'd you come back? And Sammy's like, oh well, I thought I owed it to my country. Well, if that's your thought process, then don't you want to be as strong as possible to make it home to your kids? Don't you want to be as strong as possible to serve your country? Like
yeah,
it was kind of it was like almost like a I don't think the Sufi was as much of a chump as Sammy wanted to make him feel like he was
yeah.
because it was almost like a pride versus practicality kind of thing.
Well, he was like
So that
number.
was the only thing that stuck out at me.
Yeah, Sufi was like he was like the number two, right? And like two. So he's basically I don't remember number two's name from My Hero Academia, but Sammy's basically All Might, and then the next dude who is number two is
Yeah,
like way below where he's at,
yeah,
or like maybe he's like One Punch Man, right? And he's just like this is boring, too easy.
yeah.
He gets bored. Um, yeah, I did also in that final scene. I like that he had like because obviously Sammy wasn't even really trying because even like during in the middle of like the chaos, he still had his thumbs tucked into his vest. Um, like Capello kind of mentions that he's like restraining himself because he doesn't want to kill Capello. He doesn't want to kill the Green Berets that are downstairs. And I think by doing that, it allowed Capello not to just be like a lame duck observer. Like he actually got to like fire off his sweet anti magic grenades and
Hmm.
be a part of that final battle, which was cool because it would have been kind of lame if if Sergeant Capello didn't do anything in that last fight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I think that's a good use of POV too. It was a good idea to tell the story through the lens of somebody that couldn't throw lightning bolts.
yeah, I feel like I think Conan. I feel like a lot of the Conan stories are told from someone next to Conan, right? Usually, it's like the POV is like
Hmm.
someone that encounters Conan in the wilderness, or whatever. Not all of them,
Yeah,
some of them are definitely from Conan's point of view, but I feel like a lot of the Conan stories are a POV from someone other than Conan.
yeah, at least for a little bit. And a lot of them start that way. A lot of the
Hmm.
intros are that way, which is a lot of fun. My favorite, Queen of the Black Coast, kind of starts out like that, where he's like Conan is this like seems almost insane, bursting onto this ship and scattering people out of his way. And so, no, I think it's a good way to give if you're comfortable and you can do it well and you can make the shift in third person well, I think it's a good way to give people a look at the one person that's so hard to show in first person stories, which is the person that you're writing.
Yeah,
So no, I like that too.
yeah, and I'm not a big Great Gatsby fan, and I tried to read it. And I was like, this is super boring, so I stopped reading it. But uh, I do have to say it was interesting that it was first person, but it was about somebody else. Like it's not Gatsby's first person. It's whoever I don't even remember.
Yeah,
There's some character that ends up meeting
Nick
Gatsby.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had it next to my toilet for years, and I'll read it a couple pages. I'm like, I don't care.
yeah. No, if you're I love classic stories. I'm a huge. I got my full Conan forearm sleeve. I've got a H.P. Lovecraft's Dagon on the inside of my arm. Like
Hmm.
they're part of my book sleeve. There's classic stories I absolutely love, but the vast majority of the ones that would be on a school reading list are. It seems like that school reading list was written to make you hate reading. Like
Dude,
they want students to just not be just like what can we give them that will bore them to tears and make them never want to pick up a novel again? Let's pick that one.
yeah, dude, that's honestly why I'm so thankful for Harry Potter because I probably wouldn't have gotten. I wouldn't be like a reader as a hobby if it wasn't for Harry Potter, because I think I did like Lord of the Flies. I don't remember it very much, but I do remember I was like, this is kind of cool, dude. These kids are kind of effing everything up out here. But yeah, most of the stuff I read in school, especially in college, going for like an English degree. Yeah, I mean, maybe back in the day it wasn't so bad, but I mean, I got out of the Navy in 2019, started going to school, and dude, the books they throw your way, they're so bad.
Yeah, no.
I mean, not all of them. That's not fair, but like a lot of them are just cringe and very political.
It wasn't much better. I graduated in 2013, and it wasn't much better.
Yeah.
There was constantly the classics were there though. That was the one blessing is you get to pick your courses. So if you wanted to do, Old English tales or Shakespeare, if you enjoyed any of that, you could kind of pick it. But yeah, Scarlet Letter, Great Gatsby, Great Expectations, anything Dickens can just go in the trash. Like it's just not.
I read one that I was kind of blown away by the fact that I liked it. It's called The Promise. I couldn't tell you the name of the guy who wrote it. I forgot, but it's about like this, I don't know, college kid in like during McCarthyism, and he's like going to school in New York City to be a rabbi. And I was like, this sounds like the most boring thing I've ever heard in my life. Dude, it was great. There was like this, like his girlfriend's younger brother was like insane. And so there's this, like all these scenes are very tense with this little crazy kid. And they end up putting him in this very like kind of, not, I guess experimental, but they're not like experimenting on him, but it's very cutting edge. They're trying new methods. And he's in this like hospital with other crazy kids. And one night they like break out and they got like knives and shit. And they like get past the security guard. It's very creepy. And really well done. And like one of the guys, like the dude's professor, who's like a Holocaust survivor. He's like this Russian Jew that survived the Holocaust and escaped. He's like super hardcore traditionalist. And yeah, dude, it's a good book. I was kind of blown away.
Cool.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a gem out there every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Oh, crap! I just closed it. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I thought I closed the window on accident. Yeah, dude, I think that's about all the notes I got for this. Just a fun, cool little short story, man.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm excited to keep going to see how they follow this one up. Because that, like I said, that was a great opener. I mean, it really made me excited for this anthology. Between that and seeing like that they did artwork for everyone, that was cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the red. I haven't really gone ahead, so I haven't seen what else there is. But yeah, I'm excited to check out the other art. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. Maybe is in regards to like, maybe it was like a small hint as an explanation for why he was so powerful, or how maybe he acquired those 100 souls, which also, like, for being such a laid back guy, the fact that he's like sucked 100 dudes dry, basically, that's pretty hard. Pretty hardcore. But anyway, yeah. The fact, I think he mentions that Saddam likes to cluster all of his wizards together, whereas like the Westerns like to spread them out. I don't know if that was like supposed to be a little hint or like an Easter egg as to explain why maybe he encountered so many wizards and was able to kill so many. But yeah, and like you said, I don't know the details about this war that he was in, so I didn't pick up on that, but that makes sense now that you mention it.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing little like notes and details about this, but I would not be surprised. I'm not going to speak with authority, but I would not be surprised if Josh spent some time in the theater that he's writing about. That if he was, because it's very on point for what I have read and what all my friends have told me that were there about how that like that war worked, kind of how that section of the world worked and everything like that. So I feel like it's cool that it really kind of pulls the Great War on Terror experience into fiction.
Yeah. I don't like. This is the first I've read of him. I don't know anything about Josh Hill. I wasn't even sure. Like I searched his name on Twitter to try and tag him, but I was like, I don't know which one of these Josh Hills is him, so I didn't tag him. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was, like you said, if he was a vet, because there's like the one part in particular that made me think, okay, a vet wrote this. Is why he hates country music, like the hoorah, like the American soldier, that song. Like I love Toby Keith, R.I.P. I'm just saying, like there's a lot of vets that have that kind of mentality. towards like those kind of songs and that kind of stuff. So that made me think that maybe Josh is himself a veteran. But I mean, anybody. I mean, maybe he just has a lot of vet friends and has done a lot of research and stuff and is well versed. But could be either or.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he was a vet. And the lingo seems to fit, like just the way he talks about, like battle rig, get kitted out, stuff like that.
Yeah,
sounds right. But again, he could just have read a lot of stuff. Yeah, man, I think that's all the notes I had. I guess it's kind of the advantage of reading a short story is it doesn't take forever to kind of go over it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Short talk for short story.
Yeah. Well, cool, dude. I forgot to check to see what the next story is. Did you happen to see the title?
Till the Sun Shines by Ruth Thompson.
I feel like I've recognized that name.
It looks like it's set in 45.
Nice.
I just got my Kindle open, going the wrong way. Got my Kindle open up here. So yeah, January 24th, 1945, somewhere in the jungle of the Philippines.
Oh, so, Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about
we're changing gears.
That part of the World War II as far as what was going down in the Philippines. I'm not too familiar. I've been to the Philippines. It's hot and it's muggy, but yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out with Till the Sun Shines.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Yeah, next Monday, knock out another short story. I guess it was about 45 minutes. That's almost an hour. We almost knocked out. Yeah, it's decent. And granted, we kind of went on a Larry Correia side tangent, which maybe we should talk about that, dude. You know what? You got what are you excited for? Comes from Larry.
Well, the new Academy of Outcasts is coming out, but we talked about it with kind of the interview you and I did before. I do Son of the Black Sword. I'm doing that series on audio, and it takes me a lot longer to get through audio. So
yeah,
I'd already started another book, so I'm still behind. So I got to catch up and finish that series on audio. Which the audio has been absolutely fantastic for you audio people out there. For you audio people out there, the narrator's great.
I've heard the narrator is like phenomenal. I love Oliver Wyman. That's why I haven't even read Monster Hunter. I only listened to that series, and I loved him in Lost Planet Homicide. But yeah, I've heard that the guy that does Son of the Black Sword and all the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior books is phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. I'm really enjoying that one on audio. That's every once in a while, and it's not unique. It's not just one person, but a narrator can make or break an audiobook. And he definitely, not that the quality of the writing isn't fantastic, but he definitely made the audiobook. The way he, especially like the ocean being a swear word.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And the way he manages to oceans, like just he makes it that have that same emphasis as like damn it, like it comes water. Across perfectly. Yeah.
Man, what a great setting and lore, because like all the like the slang that he gets from the oceans, like, and like how all the poor people are called like fish eaters. I love that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling my family like, you fish eater.
You fish eater. My friend group does that with I don't know if you ever read Red Rising. But with there's a lot of those. It's like pixie or bronzy or and there's slang that they use like bloody damn or my good man or whatever. It's like I have whole friend groups that it's like somebody will do something that's they're wimping out or whatever, and all of a sudden you hear back, "You pixie!" Just anyway. So it's funny, like when you get enough people together that are in this imaginary culture, they take parts of the culture with them.
Yeah. Oh, dude, such a good series. I hope that the guy I talked to on Friday, John, I don't want to mess up his last name. He's writing a graphic novel called Inker.
Nice.
Anyway, I think I might have turned him on to Servants of War, so hopefully he goes and reads it.
Okay.
God, I love that. But I might reread that like this winter, just cause it's so good.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping that sequel shows up soon. I want to say I did Servants of War on audio too. I did. That one was good. It
Hmm.
was good for audio. Um, but yeah, Academy of Outcasts is coming up, and I haven't seen a lot about the Arc Press series. I don't really know what's going on with that one.
Yeah,
So
I haven't seen. I think they're still like pulling people in. I don't know. I don't feel like I've seen any announcements as far as any books coming out from them.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, they
I have no
definitely got
idea.
a prize going on right now. Like
Yeah.
they got like a contest going. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get that book done in time. We'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like, is it fantasy or just open to anything? That's like in their wheelhouse.
It's open to anything. It has a theme. So the theme is the 300th anniversary of America. So it's I want to say 2076
Okay.
by their math. Um, so you don't have to set the novel there. You have to somehow tie that theme in. Um, so it could be, well, you could, sit down and be like, hey man, what's this place going to be like in another 100 years? Or like, like you could do something like that. It doesn't have to be. They flat out said it can be fantasy or whatever. It's just got to capture that spirit somehow.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Hopefully they start getting their series kicked out soon because I'd like to read some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm reading Chloe's Kingdom right now. It's like as far as I'm aware, it's like a heist out. It's a sci-fi kind of a heist story. So
Okay.
I don't know if have you read that yet.
Mm-mm. No, that one's new to me.
I don't even remember the guy's name. What is his name? Let's see here. Oh my gosh, where'd he go? Kindle. Chloe's Kingdom is written by. Oh, it's called Chloe's Kingdom: The Coin Vault Heist by Gregory Michael.
Okay.
Honestly, the only reason that I picked it up is because I saw he was recommended in conjunction with Devin Erickson, who wrote Theft of Fire, which is a great hard sci-fi
Mm.
story, both independent guys. And the person, I don't know either of the people involved in this post, but basically someone recommended it to this random person on X, and that person was like, oof, those two authors, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, that just went to the top of my list.
Now I gotta buy it. Now, just to be a contrarian, now I gotta get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like literally like great books, but I'm not going to read it because I don't like those guys. So yeah, I mean, Death to Fire was great. So if Chloe's Kingdom is getting lumped in with Death to Fire, then I'm sure it's great. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I don't think we should probably call it a night at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you got anything else on the story.
No, no, I think that's it. I can talk about what I'm reading right now, or like whatever. But as far as Merlin goes, that is just to sum it all up. That was an awesome story. Great opener for the Antho,
Yeah,
and I hope it keeps pace.
for sure. That was it had a great opening, and it was a great opener for the Antho. 100%
Yeah.
agree on that one. Yeah, what are you reading right now, dude?
So there's an author, LG Estrella. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Her name. I don't even know. But did a series that started with two necromancers, a bureaucrat, and an elf. Which it sounds like a walks into a bar joke because that's kind of like what the series is. It's a fantasy comedy. Think like if Spaceballs or something like that was more like fantasy instead.
Yeah.
Um, it has that kind of feel to it. There's this, magical fantasy land where everybody kind of gets one or two magics normally, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like their specialties. The people that have magical powers, that's what they do. Um, and there's a kingdom called like Everton, and they're kind of the standard. I guess America analog is the best way to put it. They're
Mm-hmm.
semi-democratic. They have councils. People are free to do general law and order kind of deal. And then there's big evil empires and everything like that. And stuck in the middle of it all are Timmy and Katie, who are two necromancers. And Timmy is the lord of this big evil nasty castle, but he's not a big evil nasty guy. His master was the man that taught him everything was an absolute evil fiend.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not who Timmy is, and he doesn't want his apprentice to have the same experiences. And they go on these wacky adventures with lots of like physical comedy and nonsense happening. Absolutely hilarious series. But the fifth one just came out. And so the moment, and I've been waiting like 2-3 years for it, and so the moment I saw it was available, it was instant sell. like couldn't punch my phone screen hard enough to buy it. So, highly recommend the series if you enjoy comedic reading.
I honestly don't know because I haven't really read any comedic. I mean, like things I've read have some comedy in it. Like Monster Hunter's got funny parts, but
Yeah.
no, I don't know if I've really read. Like I haven't read any of the Tom Stranger stuff. But I would check
Oh
it out,
man, Tom Stranger's so good. The audio on that one, I know it eventually got published on, like, there's some that's on the page, but
dude.
the audio for Tom Stranger is absolutely fantastic. David Batterina writes Space Pew Pew, which is again along the veins of like his own version of Spaceballs, and the movies that were like that, the comedy the comedy satires of sci-fi.
Yeah.
And it's this dude and his android trying to survive in this wacky universe, and they fight like an old married couple, or like they fight like brothers that have spent too much time together and are constantly at each other's throats. The bickering's fantastic. So
I'll check it out, man. I don't know if I've read. I can't think of a single comedy that like it's a straight up like this is a comedy that I've read. So I'm willing to give it a chance. Although I did listen to the sample of the first Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Fantastic.
Bro, I was laughing. It was just a sampler, but like he was describing like breaking up. I think he was breaking up with his girl, and like she left a cat or something. And he was like, let me tell you about cat people. He's like, you know what? Fuck those people. I was like, oh my god, that was hilarious, dude.
Yep. And it only gets more insane. Like if you're already enjoying yourself at that point, the book as it continues is just going to get better. And that's there's like 7 or 8 in that series. I got the next one. I'm reading that one. I haven't been doing audio on that one, though. Apparently the audio, especially the what are they called? Sound booth theater or whatever, sound play theater, the one with Jeff Hayes, is apparently absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's this one, I don't remember verbatim, but there's this one part of House of Assassins that I like was laughing out loud. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" And it was when I don't remember the name of the town, but it was like that merchant town that they go to, and it's just Jagdish and Gutch go into it, and Gutch is like, "Oh, these are my people, dude. Don't worry about it. I'll hook it up." And so they go in there, and then obviously things go terrible because there's a new crime boss or whatever. Gutch and Jagdish are getting chased all through there. And like they're like, I think they end up going over a fence or something, and I don't know. One of the bad guys says something to Gutch, and he turns back and says something like, "Yeah, I'll bang your sister." I can't remember what it was, but like he made a comment about the guy's sister, and I was dying.
Yeah.
Dude. Like that shit was so funny.
The timing is really,
like they're in the middle of this like super tense, like they're about to get murdered. There's criminals after him. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll bang your sister," or some crap like that, dude. It was so funny. I wish I knew it like verbatim so it didn't sound so lame, but like yeah, dude, it was super funny.
No, there's a lot of great. Larry's good about working in the just little jab moments, especially for tension breaks or anything like that. It's
Oh, dude,
I remember the scene you're talking about.
Yeah. Like the like in Vendetta when there's the the whole concert scene with Kratos and Bia, and like just the pure insanity of that entire from the concert down the freeway on the overpass. Exploded fuel truck, Apache helicopter, just decimated everything. And then like, okay, now we're going to go meet the gangster gnomes. I was like, oh my God, dude. It's like so, and like, you're getting like kicked in the balls by little short gnomies. So hilarious.
Yep.
I love that. I love their gangster gnomes. Hopefully they come back some more.
Yeah, there's I'm trying to remember which of the short story and those it was. But if you haven't done like Monster Hunter Files or Target Rich Environment, in one of those, there's a short story where like all the B-list Monster Hunter bad guys come back and go after Owen, and one of them is one of the gangster gnomes.
Oh no!
Um,
I thought they were tied. I thought they had an understanding.
so like it's like it's like the side character for all the villains that we've had. So
Yeah.
like what Mr. the his boss in the very beginning that he ends up
They threw out
throwing
the
him out the
window.
window. I'm talking, yeah, it's like his brother and people like that. So it's like his brother. It's just
Is he
like,
even aware?
and
Like,
it's,
does he even have any like a curse or anything, or is he just a regular guy?
no, he somehow he like got bit that night too, and nobody knew it.
Oh,
Like, so he's a werewolf too. And that's what's funny is like I said, it's like the B movie version of all the villains that we've had. So like one of the orc lords, like it's his like evil cousin, and like somebody's girlfriend that Owen killed 2 books ago. Like, it's like this whole like Suicide Squad type group of dudes
nice,
that
dude.
are all coming back after Owen and Julie while they're on vacation. It's a great story. It's hilarious.
Yeah, target-rich
It's,
environment. I think I read the first one, the first story, which was, or I listened to it. I don't remember the girl's name. It's like the princess, the elf princess, like the daughter of the fat queen.
Tanya, I
Tanya,
think.
yeah, and it was like, and then she
Yeah,
like had a little crush on Edward because he like,
Edward.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he like totally like they both went in to go fight I don't remember what the monster was some like interdimensional creature. Yeah, and she was like, oh, this Edward's kind of hot, dude. This guy's yoked out of his mind, rocking swords. I don't know, that was funny, but I don't that target rich environment's not all MHI stuff, is it? Like it's other
No,
stuff.
it's all just like Larry shorts.
Yeah.
So there's all different ones from different universes in that one, and then the Monster Hunter Files isn't all Larry. It's all Monster Hunter
Monster Hunter.
shorts, and there's some killer ones in there. Jim Butcher wrote one that was
Mm.
absolutely awesome. Um, there's one. Was it? Wasn't Brad Torgerson? John Quincy Allen. John Quincy Allen wrote one that was 2 brothers that like their dad was a monster hunter and they didn't really know it, and then they
Mm-hmm.
end up running into a situation, and that story's killer. Like there's several of them in there that all of them are good. There's one with Franks and a golem. Speaking of the golem thing,
Frank's got his own
there's
book, right?
yeah,
Graphic novel.
Nemesis is
Nemesis.
pretty much Franks' book. So I think there's one more between Alpha and that one, or Nemesis might be the next one.
Yeah.
When's Legion? Anyway, but yeah, Franks will kind of get the Earl treatment a little bit. Like it won't be the whole novel, but it'll be most of the novel.
Yeah, I really like the way where he went with Frank's, because like in the first one I was like, what the hell is up with this guy? I don't know. I thought he was just like super tough, because he's getting like lit up with all these spikes at the at Natchy Bottom,
Mhm.
and then like it becomes super. I mean, maybe it was apparent to everybody else, but to me, I was like, oh, this guy's just really hardcore. But yeah, in Vendetta, I was like, okay, this guy's not human. And then I like the Frankenstein monster thing. The elixir is really cool. Setting off a little nuke to kill an old one. What a spoiler! Sorry, should have told you spoiler sign up. But yeah. I mean, it's an old book. If you haven't read it now, it's whatever.
Yeah, God, it's over a decade, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So, or getting close to a decade at this point.
John Quincy Allen. I'm not familiar with that gentleman. What outside of contributing to Monster Hunter Files? Do you know any books he's written?
You know what? Let's go look, because
Google's.
I don't think I've actually read anything else, and I hope I'm giving credit to the right writer.
Not John Quincy Adams. Google, come on, stop it. There are a few people named John Quincy Allen.
Yeah. Ooh, did I do audio for Monster Hunter Files? I'm sure this is incredibly entertaining to the people watching at home as we Google stuff.
We're Googling.
What is?
Ah, okay. My phone's being lame.
Just trying to grab the like what's the thing called?
The
Table
Anthology?
contents or whatever.
Oh.
All of us got our start in this business somehow.
Ooh. Is that the same narrator that does Target Rich Environment? And I feel like
I would have to look. Why does Audible make this so hard? I just want to see who this story's by. Why was this?
I can remember. Did you say you listened to like Lost Planet Homicide?
So Lost Planet Homicide, I think, might be one of the only things Larry's written that I haven't done yet.
Oh man, I think it's only on Audible. I don't know if they sell it in print. I think it's Audible original, so I don't know if that means that they don't print it. It's just Audible. I don't know what the rules are there, but dude, it's so good, and I'm sure you probably assume it is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point I've come to associate Larry like several other authors that it's just if he put it out, it's going to be a certain level of quality at the bare minimum, and probably much better.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Audible's really pissing me off with this. Like, it won't. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't tell me who this is by.
I think there's 3 out right now, and I don't know. I think they're novellas, is what they're classified as. Yeah, dude, it's like I think they're 2 hours pop, basically. So I usually just like listen to one while I'm cleaning the house. Fantastic, dude. The lore is so cool, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Gunrunner, is in the same universe as Lost Planet Homicide. I could be mixing those up.
I believe that is correct. I have done Gunrunner. Gunrunner took me a little bit to get into, honestly. Enjoyed it for sure. That was one of the few like of his works that I just didn't get as into as quickly.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, I'm giving up. I'm giving up on the short. I'm staring at the phone too much.
No worries, dude. Yeah, man. Well, I think it's 8:00 now, so now I got to go do daddy duties and put my my kiddos to bed. So that was a good final stretch talking about Larry Correia. Probably, I mean,
Yeah.
Next Monday, if we run out of stuff to talk about, we could probably pick another author to talk about. We got R.H. Snow in the chat. She rocks. Mallory Childers. Hey. That's your fiance, right?
Yeah.
And then Garrett. Forgive me, Garrett. Zion. I don't.
Yeah, this is Garrett's. That's thanks, Garrett.
Nice. How bad did I butcher his last name there?
No worse than I would have. So
nice. All right, man. Yeah, we'll look forward to reading Ruth's story this week, and then talk about it on Monday night, dude.
Cool.
All right, man.
Well,
you have a good night.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.